A somber funeral service is taking place for a young woman named Lissa. The atmosphere is heavy with grief as family members struggle to deliver eulogies. The focus shifts to celebrating Lissa's life rather than dwelling on her tragic death. She was known for her creativity, intelligence, and gift for storytelling from a young age. Lissa was an exceptional student with a passion for science and medicine. Her acceptance to the medical academy was a source of great pride, as she was among the first women in the country to pursue becoming a doctor. Beyond her academic achievements, she was known for being deeply caring and forming strong connections with others. A vivid dream sequence unfolds involving a mysterious string being pulled from deep within. The scene transitions to waking up in an unfamiliar setting, feeling disoriented and physically strange. Important personal items appear mysteriously, a medical journal and family medallion. Finding herself locked in, attempts to communicate with an unseen presence lead to an agreement. Morozova offers her medical services in exchange for help. Upon being released, she encounters unusual phenomena, including a burning sensation in her shoulder and mirrors that show no reflection. Investigation of the surroundings reveals an ancient painting of a wealthy ruling class family. The environment has a deathly atmosphere, with covered mirrors following the superstition of preventing trapped souls. The inability to see one's reflection becomes a disturbing revelation. The scene shifts to an elegant gathering where Countess Orlova is discussing business matters. A newcomer is welcomed into their midst, being offered mysterious refreshments and fine clothing. The environment suggests wealth and sophistication, though something seems fundamentally wrong. The truth is finally revealed. This is a gathering of vampires. The protagonist has joined their ranks, though the memory of transformation remains suppressed. Discussion ensues about the implications, including separation from family and adaptation to a new existence. A discussion takes place about Arben, a woman in a pink dress who originates from somewhere in the east. The conversation then shifts to Petya, described as a human companion brought in by Alisa, who seems unaware of his surroundings among dangerous company. A doll named Matilda is presented, crafted with lifelike features that make her appear as though she could blink at any moment. The scene is interrupted when Petya is suddenly pulled away to attend to urgent business with the Countess. Lissa and Petya formally introduce themselves. Petya reveals his passion for doll making, sharing how his father disapproved of this career choice as unmanly. Despite the discouragement, he remains optimistic about his craft and hopes to show his work to the Countess. A coded conversation about drinks occurs, with Cabernet being a euphemism for blood. The scene reveals the supernatural nature of the gathering, though some participants remain unaware of its true nature. Arben and Lissa engage in a meaningful conversation about hereditary demons and the inevitable need for blood consumption. Arben runs a literary salon in town and offers wisdom about honesty and careful choices in their new existence. The atmosphere grows tenser as someone suggests playing Russian roulette, highlighting the reckless nature of immortal beings seeking entertainment in dangerous games. Alisa appears and discusses Lissa's transformation, revealing the complex social dynamics of vampire society. The conversation explores existential themes about eternal life and the value of mortal versus immortal existence. Discussion turns to mysterious activities in the manor's basement, with deliberate evasion of direct answers about its purpose. A mysterious mark appears on Lissa's shoulder, causing concern among those who see it. The conversation confirms the existence of various supernatural creatures like ghosts and rusalkas. Lissa expresses scientific curiosity about her new condition, impressing others with her analytical approach to the situation. There is a demonstration of vampiric abilities, including thought projection and levitation, introducing Lissa to the expanded capabilities of her new existence. These powers are presented as natural advantages of their supernatural condition. The scene begins with flying lessons as a new vampire learns to navigate their abilities. There is excitement and nervousness about this newfound power of flight, creating an exhilarating experience despite the context of death and transformation. An introduction to Trofim, the Countess's former serf, who now serves as custodian and coachman, controlling access to the manor. This encounter serves as a practical demonstration of vampire abilities, specifically the power of enchantment. A detailed explanation of enchantment follows, revealing it as a power that requires the target to like the vampire. It works primarily on humans, though rumors suggest elite vampires can enchant their own kind. The ability induces a trance-like state where subjects become suggestible and feel no pain. The lesson progresses to feeding techniques, but nervousness and hesitation prevent the new vampire from completing this crucial step. Despite the strong urges and sensory experiences, they cannot bring themselves to feed, leading to a promise to keep this failure secret from the Countess. A shocking discovery reveals that other vampires have drained and killed a human at the manor. This leads to tension and conflict among the vampires, with concerns about the Countess's reaction and potential consequences for the perpetrators. Important vampire lore is revealed, including their fatal weakness to sunlight and the punishment system within their society. For lesser crimes, vampires may have their fangs removed temporarily, forcing them to survive on expensive alternatives like Cabernet. A more philosophical discussion emerges about vampire existence, suggesting it offers an opportunity for eternal self-improvement and learning. The conversation provides comfort and guidance to the newly turned vampire, along with practical advice about adapting to their new life. The aftermath of events reveals the punishment of those responsible for the killing. Information about vampire hierarchy and apprenticeship is shared, explaining that new vampires are typically assigned to their makers for training. The scene includes arrangements for transportation to the doctor's place in town. A mysterious journey begins as a lady is escorted to new lodgings while wearing a blindfold to maintain secrecy about the location. Upon arrival and removal of the blindfold, she experiences an unusual reaction to sparks, which are revealed to be from the approaching sunrise. She is quickly directed to her new residence on the second floor. At the new location, Dr. Pavel is shown treating an elderly woman named Fahina for a tick bite. The doctor demonstrates genuine care and medical expertise, promising follow-up care. Fahina, who lives next door, warmly welcomes the new apprentice, showing friendly neighborly behavior despite noticing the apprentice's distressed state. Doctor formally welcomes Elizaveta, acknowledging responsibility for her transformation and promising guidance. The conversation reveals it's the night of her initiation. The doctor offers her an apprenticeship and accommodation in exchange for helping with research, emphasizing the value of her medical expertise. A startling revelation occurs about the necessity of a coffin, referred to as a vessel, for daytime safety. The doctor has prepared appropriate medical work attire and encourages rest. The room provides an unexpected sense of security, particularly near the coffin, though the situation carries dark irony. A visitor named Hussar arrives at the window, revealing vampire customs about requiring invitation to enter premises. After some playful banter about manners, entry is granted. The conversation turns serious as Hussar delivers a mission from the Countess regarding document retrieval from the mayor's relatives. The target couple is identified as Evgeny, a poet, and Anastasia, a religious woman. The mission requires befriending them to gain access to their house. Hussar provides details about their usual locations, Evgeny at Arbin's literary salon and Anastasia at the church, along with funds for expenses. The scene shifts to Evgeny performing melancholic poetry about nature and loss at what appears to be a literary gathering. Lissa introduces herself and cleverly gains his trust by complimenting his work and comparing it to Byron. Their interaction culminates in shared vodka shots and an invitation for future meetings. A conversation takes place between two individuals at a church where they meet for the first time. One introduces herself as Anastasia, a music school teacher, while the other is Lissa, who works as a doctor's apprentice. They exchange pleasantries before parting ways. Lissa mentions a doctor's medical bag that contains essential emergency supplies. The scene transitions to her attempting to speak with Dr. Volkov. A touching flashback scene unfolds where Lissa's mother sings her a lullaby. The mother reassures Lissa that she can achieve anything she sets her mind to, including becoming a singer. The tender moment ends with them exchanging good nights. A tense scene develops as Lissa experiences a frightening encounter with mysterious voices and an open window. It turns out to be Hussar playing a prank, who then reveals Vampire's ability to turn invisible. He demonstrates this power and provides advice about its limitations. Hussar and Lissa discuss strategy regarding obtaining an invitation from a couple. Hussar warns that getting close to people during the hunt can lead to their harm. He leaves after giving this cryptic advice, noting he will be somewhat supportive of her efforts. Dr. Volkov assigns Lissa her first task as his apprentice, checking on a patient with a neck bite. He provides access to his advanced laboratory equipment and explains the payment structure. The doctor emphasizes the never-ending nature of medical work. Lissa visits Fina, sharing tea and conversation. Fina proves to be a warm, maternal figure who shares insights about the town, including its nocturnal nature. They discuss the local community and potential dangers that lurk in the darkness. During the medical examination, Lissa notices Fina has a mild fever. She takes a blood sample to analyze using Dr. Volkov's laboratory equipment. Their visit ends warmly, with Fina inviting Lissa to return anytime. Dr. Volkov shares his tragic origin story as a vampire. He recounts how a feral vampire attacked him and his wife Clara during a carriage ride. The feral killed Clara and then bit Volkov, leading to a violent confrontation. The story provides insight into the dangerous reality of feral vampires who have lost control due to blood addiction. The bite caused blood to be swallowed, initiating what appears to be a supernatural transformation ritual commonly found in folklore. The encounter ended with the immortal retreating, though the ordeal continued beyond that night. Medical test results needed to be collected from a doctor's lab for a patient named Fina. Upon examining the results, an unusual case of rheumatic fever was discovered, which is typically more common in children. A visit to the patient was deemed necessary to discuss treatment options. During a visit with Fina, the diagnosis of rheumatic fever was discussed. Treatment was prescribed for inflammation, with reassurance that early detection would prevent complications. Fina shared her personal philosophy of performing one good deed daily, even something as simple as watering plants. A heated confrontation unfolded between Evgeny and Kirill over a book lost in a card game. The book contained Evgeny's life work. A subsequent card game of 21 was played in an attempt to win back both the book and money, but ended in failure with accusations of cheating against Kirill. A touching moment of friendship occurred while helping an intoxicated Evgeny home. The conversation revealed personal struggles with alcohol, both in Evgeny's life and the helper's family history. Evgeny extended an invitation for tea and promised to share a poem in the future. An exploration of a well-organized collection revealed rare artifacts and personal belongings. The space contained various items including classical music collections featuring Glinka, Chopin, and Bach, along with family photos showing Evgeny and Savelli in the Skorsov family. A tense argument erupted between Evgeny and Anastasia about financial troubles and drinking habits. The discovery of a secret panel under the floorboard revealed an envelope with a city hall seal and 50 coins. The situation highlighted ongoing domestic struggles. An intense hunger developed, becoming increasingly unbearable. The narrative takes a dark turn as thoughts focus on consuming flesh, leading to a chance encounter with Evgeny. The meeting reveals his self-loathing and disdain for his life's work, creating an unsettling atmosphere. A deeply personal moment reveals feelings of insignificance and self-doubt, leading to a touching exchange where a comforting lullaby is offered as solace. The gentle song about sunset and peaceful rest creates a soothing atmosphere. However, this intimate moment takes an unexpected turn when the singer realizes they may have inadvertently enchanted their companion. The situation quickly escalates when Lissa is discovered, leading to accusations of demonic possession. Hussar arrives just in time to help, explaining he had been monitoring the situation from the garden. He reveals that more experienced practitioners can charm strangers easily, while noting that Lissa's attempt at enchantment failed due to insufficient connection with the targets. Documents are exchanged that will please the Countess, marking a potential rise in social standing. Hussar provides practical advice about handling the aftermath, suggesting that the doctor blame the incident on snakes. He also recommends hunting rabbits as an alternative food source when human enchantment isn't possible. A revealing conversation with the doctor unfolds over tea, where they discuss their parasitic nature and the inability to consume solid food without special enzymes. The doctor explains his reasons for converting Lissa, expressing hope that they can contribute positively to science despite their condition. A touching father-daughter moment occurs as Lissa expresses doubts about upcoming academic challenges. Her father presents her with a beautiful gift meant for her acceptance into medical school, demonstrating his unwavering faith in her abilities and providing emotional support. A mysterious supernatural encounter introduces an ominous warning about Coupolis night and a debt to be repaid. The doctor advises Lissa to research supernatural matters before the approaching Coupolis night, suggesting she visit the bookshop for materials. At the book emporium, Lissa meets Roman, an enthusiastic and knowledgeable bookkeeper who assists her in finding both medical papers and books about supernatural creatures. Their interaction reveals Roman's extensive knowledge of his inventory and establishes what appears to be the beginning of a meaningful connection. A warm exchange takes place regarding making literature more accessible to people. The bookstore owner Roman generously offers a book free of charge, with the sole condition that the recipient returns to share their thoughts after reading it. The atmosphere is friendly and enthusiastic about sharing knowledge. The scene shifts to Roman's living quarters, which doubles as storage space. The room contains an eclectic collection of books, including works on hematology by Dr. Schultz and peculiarly lifelike faux birds in cages. The space reflects Roman's tendency to blend work and personal life. An unexpected encounter occurs with Alisa, who appears to be working on a mysterious passion project involving ancient Slavic runes. The conversation is brief but intriguing, highlighting the diverse scholarly interests present in the community. A delivery of hematology research is made to Dr. Volkov, who expresses gratitude and relief that it will save days of work. The interaction reveals the importance of Roman's foreign literature section to the local academic community. The narrative moves to a social setting where a drink is shared over casual conversation. The host, displaying hospitality, offers various beverage options, including a prideful Cabernet. The discussion touches on matters of health and settling into the community. A conversation after church service focuses on the remarkable choir performance, particularly praising the tenor's voice. This leads to a meaningful discussion about music appreciation and teaching, revealing shared interests between the conversing parties. The scene transitions to a tense confrontation regarding a stolen journal belonging to Ergony. A businessman named Kirill admits to having the journal and plans to sell it to an art collector, offering to sell it back for 500 coins. The narrative shifts to a bar scene where a friendship develops with Iskra, a bartender. Through shared drinks and conversation, the difficult nature of night work and customer service is discussed, building trust between the two. The conversation with Iskra turns to gambling, specifically regarding Kirill's card-playing habits. Through careful questioning and a ruse about mixing cocktails, it is revealed that Kirill cheats using marked cards and manipulative dealing techniques. The story begins with a dire situation involving a valuable journal that needs to be recovered from someone named Kirill before it gets sold. The journal appears to contain handwritten content, and there are concerns about illegal liquor production. A tense encounter leads to frustration over the journal's thin pages, making it difficult to write poetry. A writer reveals they have been struggling with writer's block for over a year, leaving them financially strained despite having a successful debut book. Poor money management and drinking contributed to their current situation. The lost journal contains an important unfinished poem that could potentially help overcome the creative block. A plan is devised to recover the journal through gambling after discovering that Coral has been cheating using marked cards. The strategy involves using similarly marked cards and careful card swapping to win back the journal before it can be sold to a collector in a week. The plan is set to take place at the vodka bar. The scene shifts to a medical consultation with Dr. Volkov regarding a strange burning sensation on the patient's shoulder. The doctor identifies it as magical interference rather than a medical issue, suggesting it was caused by an unknown foreign entity. The patient has no memory of who might have caused it. A house call is arranged to treat a patient named Nikolina who suffers from haemochromatosis, excess iron in blood. The treatment involves vampiric feeding to reduce iron levels. Despite initial resistance to a female medical practitioner, the treatment proceeds under Dr. Volkov's supervision. Dr. Volkov reveals crucial research about vampire biology and bloodlust. Excessive blood consumption leads to increased power, but risks turning vampires feral. The doctor lost his wife to such a creature and now works on separating the addictive elements from blood. This research caught the attention of a Countess who offers support, but with ulterior motives. She wants to create power-boosting consumables without side effects. A deal was struck that allowed continued work with provided funding for lab equipment and expenses, along with an apprentice. This arrangement explains the current situation, though the specifics of how everything unfolded remain somewhat unclear. The trust placed in this partnership is significant, with an invitation extended to help fulfill an important vision. An interesting discovery was made regarding movement restrictions across water bodies. Despite attempts to fly across the lake, it proved impossible, appearing to be another empirical limitation. This means crossing water requires using conventional human methods rather than supernatural means. By the lake, an encounter occurs with Trophine, a local fisherman. The conversation reveals his extensive knowledge of fishing, learned from his father. Though aging makes fishing more difficult, he maintains a boat for public use and discusses local folklore, particularly about rusalkas, water spirits he claims to have encountered and survived. A planned scheme begins to unfold at what appears to be a tavern or gathering place. The operation involves card games and careful coordination between partners, with specific signals arranged for different cards: 1 knock for 6, 2 for 10, and 3 for ace. The plan includes deliberately losing the first hand to build confidence. The card game takes an intense turn when personal writings are revealed, leading to tensions over private matters and honor. The situation escalates dramatically when one party challenges the other to a duel with pistols, scheduled for a week later, despite one participant's clear inexperience with firearms. A touching moment occurs with Faina, who shares her weekly ritual of feeding birds and enjoying a chocolate pastry in solitude. The conversation explores themes of self-care and the challenge of allowing oneself to enjoy peaceful moments without guilt. Faina offers support and mentions having something helpful at home. A mysterious key and riddle were received several months ago, prompting an investigation into the identity of an unknown vampire sire. The recipient was abandoned after being turned, nearly perishing in daylight before learning to survive through trial and error. Despite searching globally for clues about their sire, no answers were found until receiving this cryptic message. Through careful deduction, the riddle led to this specific town. The mention of Eagle-less pointed to the name Orlov, which means eagle in Slavic languages. This connected to Countess Orlova, a vampire residing in the area. However, the investigation paused there, with mixed feelings about pursuing it further. Taina gifts Lissa a Hamza amulet with deep personal significance. The amulet was originally given to help Taina cope with leaving her home and facing new challenges. It represents the idea that home is carried within oneself. Taina passes it on to Lissa, believing it will serve her well on her own journey. A heated situation develops regarding a duel planned at Lover's Island at dusk. The challenger, a poet whose honor was insulted, lacks firearm experience but remains determined despite warnings about the foolishness of duels. The simultaneous shooting arrangement adds complexity to potential intervention. Reflections on vampire existence include profound changes in sleep patterns and the bittersweet reality of eternal life. A poignant dream of aging normally, having grandchildren, and living a mortal life highlights the sacrifices of immortality. The permanence of vampiric existence is contrasted with the transient nature of human life. An emergency involving a drowning boy leads to a dramatic rescue. Acting as Dr. Volkov's apprentice, swift action saves Timian's life. The boy describes being pulled under by a mysterious creature with claws, leaving unusual marks that require medical attention. His sister Maruza and he express profound gratitude. The night continues with traditional festivities involving magical beliefs about flowers and plants. Participants create wreaths believed to bring safety and health for the coming year. A ritual involves floating candle-lit wreaths across the lake, with successful crossing supposedly predicting marriage and happiness. A mystical mirror ritual begins with individuals attempting to summon a chosen one. After multiple attempts at reciting the incantation, a presence appears in the mirror, causing panic and fear among those present. The ritual leads to an ominous invitation into the dark woods, where visibility becomes severely limited due to the suddenly thick forest growth. A mysterious entity named Dragomir reveals himself as an immortal being who orchestrated events at the lake. He explains his omniscient nature and describes seeing potential in the protagonist, noting their shared connection since an encounter in a dungeon. He discusses how fear can be manipulated for power and emphasizes the importance of embracing one's predatory nature. Dragomir presents a sinister task, burning a wreath on the door of someone familiar, granting the power to create fire with a snap of fingers. The task comes with a deadly warning that sunrise will bring dire consequences if not completed. After initial resistance, the protagonist finds Marusa and Demian's house and completes the task, though with some modification to the original instructions. A complex ritual involving a doll named Matilda takes place, aimed at resurrecting someone named Petya. The ritual requires specific timing and a vessel connected to the deceased. The results remain uncertain. though hope exists that Petya's body might appear at the location of their murder. A vivid dream sequence reveals a poignant memory of family life, featuring a father and children playing hide-and-seek. The dream takes a dark turn as the father becomes desperately thirsty, drinking seawater before disappearing forever, leaving unresolved emotions and questions. The ritual shows unexpected results as Petya's consciousness awakens within the doll Matilda. During their conversation, it is revealed that vampires exist and were involved in Petya's death. Petya requests secrecy about their resurrection, particularly from Elisa, while processing this new reality. The narrative shifts to an encounter with Dr. Volkov, who appears unusually disturbed and sends the protagonist on a mysterious errand to collect blood samples from a literary salon. Upon arriving at the location, they discover an empty building with hidden passages and unexpected discoveries, leading to an encounter with Arbin, the salon owner. A conversation begins with someone offering a drink to an apparently exhausted person. The recipient accepts, feeling slightly better afterward. The scene reveals people who appear dead but are actually in a trance, resting in what is described as a soft cloud-like vessel disguised as a coffin maker's storage. The unconscious people are identified as revolutionaries who believe they are champions of the people. They are voluntarily participating in blood donation, believing it is for medical research. They are kept under chloroform and in a trance state while dreaming of equality and peace. The blood is revealed to be used for ethically sourced Cabernet production. This method is presented as a more humane alternative to violent feeding, with willing volunteers providing blood under the guise of medical research. The Cabernet production process is described as difficult with a high failure rate. As the revolutionaries begin to wake up, assistance is requested with bandaging their arms. The process is described as standard capillary bleeding. The participants, Sivan and Gosha, wake feeling exhausted but are assured they will recover quickly. The scene transitions to discussion about social gatherings with a warning about the revolutionaries' drinking capabilities. Medical samples are collected and an earring is returned. The blood samples appear appetizing to the observer. The samples are delivered to Dr. Volkov, who firmly declines any assistance and dismisses the courier for several days. The focus shifts to preparation for an upcoming duel at Lover's Island. A duel takes place between Evgeny and Kirill, ending in death. A mysterious clue is discovered carved in a tree, containing the name Arjapovna within a heart, potentially connected to someone named Arbin. The scene shifts to an interaction with Petya, who receives sewing supplies and expresses gratitude, feeling alive again. Petya creates and gifts a perfectly measured outfit, though the gesture is noted as somewhat unsettling. News is delivered about Afghani leaving town due to guilt and concern for others' safety. A poem is left behind. The narrative concludes with a music lesson scene featuring Marusa, a talented but disadvantaged student who struggles with practice due to lack of home instrument access. A conversation unfolds about economic hardship and music education. A teacher is trying to raise money to buy instruments for students, particularly 15 coins needed for Marusa's violin. Despite financial challenges, they remain committed to helping underprivileged students access musical education. The discussion shifts to personal musical aspirations. One participant reveals they focused on medicine instead of music, though they always dreamed of learning piano. Their mother was an accomplished pianist, but financial hardship forced them to sell their piano, ending those dreams prematurely. An impromptu piano lesson takes place, revealing natural talent and potential. The student shows promise with their long, thin fingers, leading to enthusiastic encouragement from the teacher, who sees great potential for future development. The teacher shares their background as an aspiring professional pianist who moved to support their spouse Evgeny's career. However, after relocating, Evgeny developed a serious drinking problem that has progressively worsened, leading to frequent absences from home. The conversation concludes with dinner plans and an open invitation to visit their home. The teacher extends warmth and hospitality, suggesting dropping by whenever lights are on, promising to prepare something special for the occasion. A peculiar encounter occurs involving supernatural elements, specifically the revelation of a vampire named Jurgis who works at an establishment selling affordable Cabernet, contrasting with Arbin's more expensive venue. Dr. Volkov recounts their transformation into a vampire and subsequent challenges. They maintained a facade of normal life while raising their daughter Sofia, secretly feeding on patients during medical procedures. The deception became increasingly difficult as they didn't age while their daughter did. The story reveals how higher society vampires discovered Dr. Volkov, forcing them to abandon their daughter Sofia for her protection. They exchanged continued vampire research for their life, making their disappearance appear as though lost to wilderness. An incident with Petya reveals physical challenges and complex emotions regarding their current state. The conversation touches on past events involving Alisa and accidental involvement with vampires, leading to current circumstances. A meaningful interaction develops between Lissa Morozova and Roman at a bookshop. Their intellectual discourse covers Nietzsche and philosophical concepts. Roman offers to provide a tour sharing local folklore, suggesting evening availability when Lissa mentions her busy schedule. Preparations are being made, including writing and sending a letter to Petya's parents. The letter contains condolences and mentions something about a doll, though the exact details remain unclear. After completing the letter, it is placed in a mailbox on the main street. A significant development occurs when some eagerly awaited materials arrive. The scene involves setting up materials and preparing to work with a kiln in a doctor's study. The work appears successful, causing excitement particularly for a character named Lissa, though they are cautioned not to overexert themselves. Focus shifts to conducting experiments, specifically blood tests. The results appear promising and are expected to please Dr. Volkov. This segment suggests ongoing medical or scientific research. The setting moves to a home where smoke is detected. Inside, there has been a kitchen incident resulting in a ruined dinner. Despite the mishap, the host Anastasia maintains composure and offers tea instead. A gift of Chopin music is exchanged, leading to a heartfelt expression of gratitude. Conversation deepens as Anastasia shares her feelings about living in her inherited mansion. Despite its luxury, she feels disconnected from the space, especially with her husband Evgeny's absence. The garden serves as her sanctuary within the property. A poignant dream sequence reveals memories of a former home, describing a modest life with details of shared rooms, homemade vareniki, and a grandfather clock. The narrative touches on family dynamics and includes a child's innocent question about adult drinking habits. The scene transitions to a gathering place focused on social causes. Discussions center around working people's rights and desires for societal change. The atmosphere is charged with revolutionary ideals and hopes for a more equitable future. The gathering concludes with drinks and toasts to the future. The conversation turns to a blood arrangement with someone named Arvin, suggesting some form of exchange or deal, though the full details remain unresolved as the scene ends. A group discusses receiving funding for their activities at what appears to be a local establishment. The conversation reveals plans for organizing a rally outside town hall. The discussion touches on the previous mayor's corruption and theft of harvest yields, which led to widespread hunger and loss of livelihoods among field laborers. The conversation is interrupted by a hostile patron who makes discriminatory remarks about women's presence in the establishment. This leads to a heated exchange about class structures, with terms like bourgeoisie being explained. The group defends their recent actions, including shutting down a local mill despite criticism from a worker who lost wages. The group prepares to leave for the rally that's beginning outside. A sense of anticipation builds as they discuss the potential for change. The gathering draws a significant crowd, representing what they believe is just a fraction of their growing movement's strength. The scene shifts as someone is summoned inside to meet with the Countess. The interior of the building is described as impressive, with guards controlling access to the upper levels where the Countess awaits. An encounter occurs with the Countess and the new mayor Savelli. The mayor expresses support for workers' rights and claims to understand their struggles. He presents himself as a champion of the working class, promising to address the issues that have plagued the community. The mayor prepares to address the gathered crowd from a vantage point overlooking the rally. As he begins his speech, emphasizing his connection to the citizens, chaos erupts with the sound of gunfire. The peaceful demonstration suddenly turns dangerous, forcing everyone to take cover. In the aftermath of the shooting, tensions escalate as guards begin making arrests. The Countess makes cryptic remarks about keeping secrets, adding a layer of intrigue to the unfolding events. The situation outside deteriorates into confrontations between law enforcement and rally participants. A tense situation unfolds as Colia is found severely injured. There is an internal struggle about whether to help him, as doing so could compromise a carefully maintained identity in high society. Despite the risks, the decision is made to assist. A dramatic reunion occurs between Lissa and her injured brother Colia. He recognizes her despite everyone believing she was dead. Lissa attempts to stabilize his condition while avoiding detailed explanations about her apparent resurrection. When pressed for answers, Lissa claims to be working as a spy for a foreign government, targeting their rulers. Colia doesn't believe this explanation and expresses hurt over her apparent death's impact on their family, especially their mother. Colia recounts events following Lisa's funeral. At her graveside, Uncle Mitko shares folk beliefs about death and discusses deeper societal issues, pointing out that the real blame for peasant suffering lies with corrupt leadership rather than the poor themselves. The narrative shifts to describe the month following Lisa's funeral. Their mother becomes nearly mute with grief, while their father descends further into alcoholism. Colia begins reading revolutionary literature and developing political consciousness. A confrontational scene unfolds between Colia and his drunk father, who berates him about his poor academic performance and compares him unfavorably to Lisa. The situation escalates when discussion turns to missing valuable items and money. The confrontation reaches its climax as Colia decides to leave home, promising his mother he'll send money through Uncle Mitko. He joins a revolutionary movement, becoming a courier between revolutionary units until a mission goes wrong. Dr. Volkov discovers Lisa with her injured brother and reminds her of strict rules forbidding contact with living relatives. Despite this, the doctor agrees to help treat Colia, citing their shared commitment to the Hippocratic Oath. Lisa visits a general store for supplies, experiencing an oddly generous shopkeeper who refuses payment. Upon returning home, she encounters police blocking access to her residence, refusing to explain why or when she can return. A tense situation unfolds when someone is found resting in a vessel, placed there by Dr. Volkov. The scene involves searching for the doctor to discuss Colia's condition, with urgent knocking and interruption of scientific work, creating an atmosphere of unease and urgency. A dramatic revelation occurs as Liza awakens in a coffin, leading to a startling confession about vampires. The truth about supernatural existence comes out, though it must remain secret for safety. This disclosure creates tension between family members trying to process this extraordinary situation. Dr. Volkov delivers concerning news about police searching for Nikolai Colia Morozov. Despite attempts to buy time with a warrant, the situation becomes dire. A crucial package needs to be delivered, described as vital for the cause and country's future. Police arrive to arrest Colia on charges of treason and assaulting an officer. The arrest stems from witness descriptions and known radical connections. A corrupt offer of better treatment for 20 coins is made, but proves impossible to afford. The aftermath of the arrest brings emotional turmoil and discussion about vampire society rules. Contact with humans from past lives is revealed to be forbidden under penalty of death, suggesting this separation might be a blessing in disguise despite the pain. Through dreams and revelations, plans form to investigate Colia's arrest. A note is discovered, leading to letter writing and package retrieval. The mysterious package is revealed to be a bomb, raising moral questions about revolutionary involvement. At a gathering, discussions about political violence emerge, including a failed assassination attempt on the city head. Debate ensues about the cost of revolution, with some viewing arrests as martyrdom, while others question the human toll. The conversation shifts to locating arrested individuals, revealing they vanished without trace. A deal is proposed. If the package is delivered, resources will be dedicated to finding Colia. The task is delegated to Gosha, setting up future developments. A mysterious encounter begins with someone excusing themselves from a conversation with the protagonist, mentioning they should not be seen together for too long. A character named Maxim then reveals a surprising truth about their involvement in a recent rally incident. Maxim confesses they never intended to shoot anyone at the rally, but rather aimed at a window. An auburn-haired woman with a scar, possibly Victoria, had paid them 100 coins for this task. This revelation prompts consideration of visiting Victoria at the manor to investigate a potential connection to Colia. A somber moment occurs at what appears to be a mail collection point, where news of an elderly woman's death is revealed. The deceased, Faina, was from the same building and had recently appeared in a dream. A journey to the Countess Manor begins, driven by the need to uncover Victoria's connection to the rally incident and find Colia. Upon arrival, the manor appears closed to visitors, creating an eerie atmosphere in an empty room. An overheard conversation reveals tension over business dealings, production changes, and insufficient deliveries. The discussion mentions a Countess safe spot and monthly books, hinting at potentially illicit activities. The investigation leads to a dark cellar area where a hidden safe is discovered. Using a tiny key and solving a riddle, important documents are found, including receipts with the town hall sigil and construction invoices. A shocking discovery shows documents listing Colia and Gosha as deceased. A confrontation with Victoria occurs, revealing her involvement in bribing the shooter. The encounter ends with Victoria being locked in the basement, pleading not to be forgotten before sunrise. A tense encounter with Yvonne reveals underlying conflicts and hints at impending trouble. Yvonne speaks cryptically about leadership, manipulation, and an upcoming day of reckoning before sunrise, while also mentioning Gosha's disappearance. The investigation moves to the town hall, where a late-night encounter with the Countess Orlova occurs. The conversation reveals tensions around vampire laws and family connections, leading to a significant moment regarding an important envelope. A valuable retrieval mission is discussed, which served as both a practical task and a test of trustworthiness. The conversation transitions to discussing the stock market, comparing it to a casino where correct predictions yield substantial payoffs. The discussion shifts to exploring immortality and vampire identity. It's revealed that vampires who have lived over a century have unique advantages in predicting market movements and investing in people, having witnessed patterns repeat throughout history. An offer is extended to become a protege and live at the manor, with promises to teach business empire building. The mentor suggests they could work together to influence the entire country and live as royalty. The conversation reveals knowledge of a missing brother, with assurances that contact won't cause trouble. A promise is made to reunite them before sunrise, leveraging connections with law enforcement and offering generational family security. Despite the generous offer of power and influence, it is declined. The mentor expresses disappointment before departing, leaving an ominous comment about the missing brother. The scene shifts to examining an antique room with peculiar scales and historical paintings. Hidden mechanisms and secret passages are discovered through careful observation of seemingly ordinary objects. A hidden underground prison is discovered beneath the town hall, revealing disturbing construction projects and imprisoned individuals who are fearful and resistant to communication. A reunion occurs with Gosha, who explains being betrayed and turned into authorities after questioning leadership decisions during a riot. The harsh reality of the prison system becomes apparent. Another prisoner named Colia is found in critical condition with severe infection. A difficult decision is made to save him by turning him into a vampire, requiring careful explanation and consent. Further exploration reveals disturbing evidence of inhumane treatment, including a room with mysterious symbols and signs of brutal experimentation. The discovery triggers memories of similar historical atrocities. The scene opens in a medical setting where a patient is being examined. The patient shows signs of severe malnourishment and high fever, with concerning symptoms including nausea and blood in bodily fluids. Despite the lack of proper medical records, immediate medical intervention is deemed necessary and an intravenous drip is ordered. Lissa Morozova, a recent medical academy graduate, discusses the patient's condition with another doctor. The doctor, impressed by Lissa's medical knowledge, offers her a position as an assistant at their practice. However, Lissa responds cryptically that she cannot accept since she won't be getting out of there. The conversation has a bittersweet tone of missed opportunities. The scene transitions to a confrontation about a disturbing blood export system. A government official attempts to justify the system as necessary for societal improvement, explaining how discovering vampires led to developing this industrial-scale blood harvesting operation. The official presents it as an economic solution to fund public works and infrastructure. Lissa confronts the official, declaring an intent to end the horrific blood harvesting operation. The official responds with a threatening nursery rhyme about a knife-wielding figure, creating an ominous atmosphere. The situation quickly escalates to a dangerous confrontation. Lissa finds herself imprisoned, with all possessions confiscated by Mayor Scott Saw's orders. A guard reveals this is their first time watching a vampire prisoner. A coffin is provided to prevent sun exposure, suggesting plans for long-term captivity. The guard maintains a professional distance while expressing fascination with the situation. A mysterious figure named Dragomir appears, criticizing Lissa for being imprisoned again and lamenting her wasted potential. The conversation reveals a complex past relationship and missed opportunities for power and influence. Dragomir expresses disappointment in Lissa's choices. Lissa engages in conversation with Luca, a guard she previously encountered at Savella's office. Their discussion reveals the guard's conflicted feelings about their work in the facility. Despite moral reservations about the screams and bloodshed, Luca feels trapped in the position due to family obligations and fear of retaliation. A tense escape situation unfolds as someone needs to unlock a door and hand over keys. Time is running short before pursuers arrive, and there is urgent concern about checking on someone named Colia. The scene suggests a desperate attempt to flee from danger. Lissa appears to be experiencing something unusual, but is reassured it will be fine. The situation becomes more dire as guards are present, blocking escape routes. Someone references Ostrovsky's thunderstorm and demonstrates an apparent ability to fly or turn invisible. A chase ensues with guards ordered to shoot at a woman who can allegedly turn invisible. The tension escalates as shots are fired and someone named Sveli is mentioned as having warned about the invisibility capability. A passionate speech about centuries of tyranny and oppression unfolds. The speaker references unlawful imprisonment of heroes like Gosha and criticizes the ruling class wealth and power. They denounce government officials' speeches as lies and call for unity and rebellion. The scene shifts to a New Year's Eve conversation about a clinic. Marina is described as a hardworking partner in running the clinic. The speaker wants to take their mind off work and turns to television for distraction. A news broadcast discusses the upcoming year 2000 and President Chernov, who took power after the previous leader's sudden death. The broadcast highlights Chernov's military budget increases and strict immigration policies, presenting them as positive changes for stability. A personal conversation reveals someone preparing to leave for an important trip, despite attempts to convince them to stay. The exchange suggests a close relationship and mentions meeting someone named Anne in the future. The narrative reveals vampire lore, explaining how vampires must move every 20 years to avoid suspicion. The concept of vampire visas is introduced, and the speaker returns to a town after a century to visit old friends in a cemetery. A series of historical accounts follows, detailing the fates of various characters, including Anastasia, Dr. Volkov, and events surrounding a tragic town hall fire. The story involves vampire-related incidents that were later covered up through hypnosis. The story detailed the outcomes for several characters: the Countess, who built a possible criminal empire; Victoria, who became a trusted second-in-command; and Mayor Savelli, who disappeared mysteriously after revealing his true nature as a sociopath. The mysterious disappearance of a woman from a small town sparked various theories. Some believed she moved to a bigger city, while others suggested a dangerous game of Russian roulette led to her fate. The only certainty was her sudden vanishing overnight, leaving many to wonder about her restless soul finding peace. Arbin remained in town temporarily, attempting to manage their establishment remotely after leaving. However, changing trends led to the property being converted into a housing project. Eventually, they relocated abroad, leaving behind thoughts of what could have been if relationships had developed differently. A store conversation reveals depleted stocks of champagne, vodka, and flowers on New Year's Eve. The proprietor sees this shortage as good business due to high demand and limited supply. A customer arrives late seeking flowers, leading to a heated discussion about generational differences and political traditions. A meaningful conversation develops between two individuals at the store. The older person expresses understanding and encouragement, drawing parallels to their own youth. Despite the challenging political climate, they emphasize the importance of maintaining hope for the future. Several life stories unfold. Trofim worked for the Countess until old age, reducing his drinking habits. Marusa lived a fulfilling life as a worker and parent, though questions remained about unexplored potential. Demia met a tragic end in Sevelis' underground prison, becoming a symbol of local tragedy. The aftermath of the town hall fire affected multiple lives. Gosha resigned and left town, disconnecting from previous contacts. Roman traveled extensively, publishing works on world folklore. Petya's fate remained mysterious, involving supernatural elements that seemed dreamlike in retrospect. An unexpected encounter with a snake leads to observations about winter hibernation patterns. The area appears abandoned, suggesting no recent visitors. The narrative shifts to exploring a condemned church, marking the first church visit in over a century. Personal family history emerges through memories in the church. The Morozova family story involves complex relationships, particularly with a father who struggled with alcoholism. Despite difficulties, family bonds remained important, though sometimes complicated by societal rules. Reflections on a century of experiences reveal the lasting impact of family memories despite numerous identities and locations. The weight of past choices and mistakes becomes a common burden for vampires, serving as both eternal payment and motivation for personal growth. The final contemplation focuses on the country's troubled history of wars, revolutions, tyranny, and famine. While some view the nation as cursed, there remains recognition of how small actions can significantly impact lives, whether destructively or beneficially.